So we're here with George Carrillo, and you made the film Acedia.
Yeah,
Um, so it's how did you come up with this kind of film? It's a little different, right? A little different.
it was actually originally based on a one act play that
Oh,
me and an actor friend of mine saw a few years ago. It's funny, we came to see one of those one act play festivals, and a friend of mine was
yeah.
in the play. Not the play
Oh,
that we end up adapting,
oh,
but
not
just
that one. Oh, oh.
but we end up seeing this other one that really stayed with
Mm,
us. So then, just kind of fast forward to a few years later, like we because originally my friend like he networked with the playwright because he originally wanted to do the play himself somewhere, but then fast forward a few years later, I think this was a few months before quarantine started. 'Cause the same time, I was trying to figure out my next project, and then my friend's like, "Oh yeah, like this project we did this script, this play script was great while back. We touched base with the playwright. Like, do you want to adapt it?" And I was like, "Yeah." Like, and what I
that's
felt about the project itself is that it was really connected with because the original play itself dealt with a middle-aged like a couple of just kind of dealing with their stuff with their marriage, with wanting to
mm,
follow your dreams and doing what is kind of necessary. But I kind of made adaptation because I felt like that's a very universal kind of feeling, especially for I could just imagine now for my generation, for a lot of kind of millennials who come off like both like post college, like they're like, okay, they went out to study, they went to follow their dreams, but now it's like fast forward to for 1 year post college, 2 years post college, and you're still kind of stuck. It's like almost being grown up from a generation that which I appreciate to like go and follow your dreams, but then the world unfortunately is harsher than it is, which causes people to either to compromise or decide what do you want to
yeah.
do, follow your dream or like do what you need to do to survive, like work a job you hate if you need that to pay for the rent. And sometimes like I don't know, I feel like that's how I was able to connect me, and just from there I was able
Mm,
to and also made kind of some necessary kind of changes as well because at the same time, unfortunately, I suffer from a neuromuscular disorder where unfortunately my condition got so bad originally. Because it's funny, originally one of my previous films got accepted into the Brightside Film Festival a few years ago, and unfortunately, my condition acted up and I was unable to come, which was
oh,
kind of heartbreaking because I would like never really kind of go to festivals too many times. So just it felt like this is a great opportunity. Then just my condition, which I'm still recovering from,
mm,
like affected me so negatively where I basically wasn't able to move like basically without severe pain. So I was just kind of like stuck in the living room, and like the play itself was originally based in the kitchen, but my friend was like, "Oh, because I felt like almost to some extent that like, oh my gosh, my dream is over. I can't work. I don't know when I'm ever going to feel okay again." They're like, "Okay, like what about if we figure out a project we can do? If you can only stay in the living room, let's figure out a project we can shoot in your living room." But then we kind of changed it from being set in the kitchen to being set in the living room, and most of the time I was
mm.
kind of sitting down while we were directing it, but it was still such a fantastic opportunity, and just to work with all this creative cast and crew and just how it kind of came alive just meant like kind of so much to me, and just to see it not only that but now it's accepted in the festival. And also I saw like didn't check the award thing until like a few hours ago, and I was like, oh my gosh,
Oh,
I
you
nominated
see that?
the for the
You
festival.
see, I'm usually better at getting in front of people, but I've been so busy. Oh my gosh, yeah, I'm a teacher, and it's my tenure year, and plus COVID, I'm getting just killed. So, and then my partner in the business, he's also getting crushed at work. So we're like, what are we gonna do? So whenever I get a chance, that's why I'm doing this tonight. I'm like trying to fit it in.
Oh,
So
that's
it's
no
been
problem.
crazy.
I could just definitely only imagine. Just again, thank you so much for you and everyone at the Brightside Film Festival, because just to not only to be a part of this festival again, but that actually both be able to physically be there in person now, and now
Yeah.
my film got nominated. I'm like, wow, that's I didn't know what to expect, and but just I don't know, it just it means so much to me. Just thank you so much for this opportunity, and I'm
Well, I
truly
like those. It's not only me that's picking these things, obviously, but so I actually had to count on all these other people who don't usually do everything else. They just watch the movies, and they're doing everything else for us. And I was like, "Is this done? Is this done? Is this done?" And they're like, "Yeah, we did this for you, this for you." I'm like, "Oh, thank God!" But so I didn't even. I watched all the films, which I always do. I got to watch them all, but everyone else is picking and choosing and doing all that nominating and stuff. I don't know what's going on, but I did get to watch them all, so I'm happy about that. But I do like one act plays. I miss that, so it's really cool to see it on video and film. Uh, because I used to go to New York all the time from New Jersey and just see where those one act plays all the time, and I enjoyed it. And I was like, I want to take one of these and make it into a film. So you did what I wanted to do.
appreciative.
Always wanted to do that. I always wanted to grab someone's like one act play and just film it. And I never did it. Not yet.
Yeah,
Not yet.
not yet.
But But going to Black Box and seeing like the little contest they would have, I love that. And there's always a diamond in the rough. I'm like, I gotta make that new movie. So so that's awesome that you got to do that. So that's pretty cool. And then the acting wise, how did you get the actors for the film? Because again, that's not easy to perform all that. That's a lot of talking.
Uh,
And not a lot of talking, and a lot of talking, and not like a lot of action, a lot of moving around, a lot of. It's not easy for an actor to do that.
Yeah, it's like, definitely with casting, I was able to, originally the actor friend, like, who I originally went to, when I saw the play was actually the lead actor, Lewis, like, who like, we ended up seeing the play together, so then, when I was trying to figure out, "Oh, like, what can I do in the stage?" Like, he kind of came back to me with the script, he was like, "Oh, yeah, like, I would like do you wanna adapt this short film?" And, like, he's a great actor, like, I've seen him on a few, web series, few shorts, like, even that's how we kind of first met years ago that I casted him for a project that fortunately it was like one of my first projects post college that didn't kind of go anywhere, but I still kind of put so much hard work and everything where I was able to
Mm,
make connections with so many people and just that's how our working relationship kind of built from there. And just from there, like he's like, "Oh, do you want to adapt this like work in?" And then like ultimately I cast him in the lead role, and then he recommended me to Soraya, like who he previously collaborated with, who plays his wife in the production. And then also I connected with our Alexa, like her name is Rebecca, Becca, I was able to meet her, I think, by chance because at the same time, despite my disability, I was still trying to think of all these fantastic ideas, and and it's funny we end up connecting with something else artistically because also I'm a super huge comic book fan, and like I was searching like cool like cosplays and all this stuff on Instagram. I was like, oh my
mm,
gosh, this is cool, it's cool. Then somehow I connected with her, and she's like, oh yeah, I'm an actor too. I was like, oh, that's awesome. Like I make projects, we should definitely work together. So then finally, like fast forward to them, I'm like, hey Becca, like we networked a while back. Do you want to like work together on this project? And like she was like all on board, and then we just kind of got everyone together. I think we shot it about I think it was 2 or 3 days. But the only part that I've learned as a filmmaker that's always made it so difficult, which I try not to, is that I always make a project set at the wrong time of year. Like basically the whole thing was supposed to be set during the day. We saw this mid-December when the sun went down at 4 o'clock. So like every time we like try to shoot early, the sun we had to race the sun. And it's funny, I made another project where it was complete opposite. We needed the darkness, but the sun would not go down until not. So I'm not good at I just kind of write the ideas and then like
timing.
I have like no patience. I feel like I have it written, I gotta shoot it now. But like, wait, the season doesn't match. I'm like, no, I gotta do it now. So just it was definitely fun and interesting. Like, and we tried to figure out the ways creatively and stuff like that. But it definitely was great. My cast was so fantastic, and I'm just like glad. I'm just only humbled to be able to work with all these people again, and just to see out of them bring this work of art to life. Because for me, I think one of the fears of adapting someone else's work is that you want to both respect the original artist vision, but at the same time you want to be true to yourself as well. So it's very kind of you have to figure out where to compromise, but
Yeah.
also where to say like, oh, like I, because if not, you don't want it to be the exact same thing all over again. Like, because if someone wanted
Mhm.
like to see the play all over again, they would see like the play
That's
itself.
why it's called adapt, right?
Yeah.
You tell, but then sometimes the player will be like, "Wait a second, it's not like my play." Well, it is. It's adapted, not exacted. But yeah, so that's pretty cool stuff there.
Well,
So
thanks.
how long did it take you to film this? Couple days, a day, 2 days,
It took us about, I believe, 2
3,
or 3 days. Like, I think we
3
shot
days.
literally, like, all over, like, a weekend, and it was,
Hmm.
December of tw I'm trying I think it was 2019, like,
So
yeah,
before pandemic.
yeah, because it's, like it's funny, like, when I was still kind of, like, trying to get back on my feet again with my disability, I was like, "Okay, like, now new possibility. Now I can shoot, like, projects while I'm stuck in my living room," but then
Mhm.
quarantine, I was like, "Okay, now another complication." Like,
Just keeps
but it was
coming.
but for me, I think the project meant so much to me because I was really at a part of my life where I thought like, where even now my condition is so unpredictable that I don't know. Like
Mm,
at that moment, I was like, oh my gosh, is like my life over? Is my dream over? Like, how can I still be creative and just do this? But the fact that my friends and everything were like, okay, let's try to figure out a way around it. Like, what do you have access to? What location? What can you do? What can't you do? And then just, and I don't know, it helped me so much. Even though during quarantine, I was able to work on other projects too, in which I've
mm.
learned to film whether through Zoom, shoot in one location, multiple locations, which gives me so many avenues to still be a creative. And that's I think what helped me be more positive while my condition recovered, as well as to just kind of create, which is what I love to do. Like it was amazing just to be able to film, to work with all these people again, and just and I'm glad it wasn't an end. I felt like I was still able to create more afterwards and still work with some of these people, and just
Yeah.
it was just it was amazing.
So, are you? Did you write anything or work anything that's coming soon? Another follow up short or something?
Like, yeah, I have actually a few, projects I've been working on, like, there's one I shot back in, April, and it's funny, it was another adaptation too, because I wrote, like, a few regular projects because I tried doing some, Zoom series, web series in quarantine, then I was like, "Okay,"
Yeah.
like, when things were starting to open up again, I was like, "Okay, let me do another project." And it's funny, I wrote a few original ideas too, but then I somehow, like, found this old script of, because I think, my first attempt at adapting a script I wrote a few years ago, like, I think it was, like, 20 I don't know, 2016, 2017. Then I was just kind of going through my computer, I was like, okay, what was I trying to like just looking at like just old stuff for inspiration. I was like, oh yeah, I did this script. And like I just did like a rewrite of it and then just and that, right and then I was able to shoot that project too. I call it Broken Puzzle. It's still like in post production. Like I'm connected now with my it's funny. One of my actors was like checking up on me and I was checking up the editor. I was like, oh, like what's going on with the short film? I was like, oh, all's going well. Just like it's definitely turned out a lot longer than I expected. It's like I was like, oh, I thought it was gonna be like a 10-minute short. They're like, oh no, it's like almost a half hour. I'm like, oh my gosh. Kinda like I'm like, but it's definitely another project I've been so proud to be able to be a part. And it's funny, that was like my next stage of like my health because I went from basically being only able to sit on the couch to like the entire project the next one I was able to actually shoot in my kitchen. Now since then I've
Mhm.
been trying to help other filmmakers on other crews. I'm able to like shoot more projects outside and everything through Zoom, like and just yeah, right now that project in post production while also have a few scripts like written that I'm trying to figure out what I want to do next. And but now I'm just kind of I don't know. It feels awesome because like back when I made a CD, like I did not. I almost had like a creative block where almost I felt like I couldn't think of what I was able to create because I couldn't let my
Mhm.
imagination go wild because I didn't know what would I be able to do because like could I actually I don't want to write an idea outside if I couldn't go outside physically. But now it just feels like since my health has gotten better, since more or less quarantine's got better, even though there's still a lot of course restrictions and health stuff and like the new strain and stuff. But
Now,
I
I was
just
just saying, for school I teach, and today we took our masks off for the first day. So today was the first day. So it was all right. Everyone was okay. I mean, it's an option now. And I was like, I'm like, I've got tons of, I've been all right. I've got all my shots. I'm ready to go.
yeah.
But yeah, so that was today. And so it was interesting to see people's faces for the first time in 2 years.
Yeah, it's gonna, like, throw
Very
me off,
interesting.
for, like, anyone I met through, like, this time, I'm gonna probably not recognize half of them. I'd be like, "Who are you?" Like, 'cause I'm so used to just seeing the mask face, I'm like
Yeah.
so it's definitely gonna be like
Some
that whole
people had like beards and mustaches and goatees, and I'm like, hey, you never had that. It was weird. It was really weird. But you could see the kids' faces for the first time. It was nice.
That's great.
Still, I teach film, so a lot of they're kind of closer together, I guess, with the film. But I try to stay away. Teach from afar, right? Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, so but it's so much better to be back in the classroom than doing. I mean, I was used to doing this. I was used to it. You just adapt, right?
Yeah.
Keep adapting, but and keep adapting in those plays.
Thank you. It's like I'm trying to write some more original stuff too, because even though I like adapting play, and also I felt like okay, it's kind of a challenge too, like to like adapt someone else's work. I'm like okay, at the same time, I want to like also write my own stuff as well, because like I love adapting other
Yeah,
people's work, but I'm like not creative. I want to.
yeah,
It feels nice to have that kind of balance because I like it when some directors are able to create their own works, they're able to adapt work. So I just felt like okay, too many adaptations. Now I need to go back to like try to make some original. Because at the same time, it's awesome to create it, but at the same time, I don't want to be overly dependent on just be like, okay, he's the person that only adapts plays kind of thing. So I just I'm still trying to find that balance, but just I was truly humbled to like create uh Acedia now Broken Puzzle, which is in post production, but now I'm just trying to kind of create more original ideas. And now since like the whole environment, the world is kind of to some extent opening up again, I feel like, all right, now I can let my imagination run wild again, and like I could like literally film in all these places, or hopefully no guerrilla filmmaking style. Be like, they
yeah.
only get 5 minutes, go. Or hopefully I don't know, like
Hopefully, everything will open up. Hopefully, there'll be a nice summer of films again. We hope. You can only hope. You can only hope. That's it.